It's been months of silence, and finally we got Comics Beat and Heidi McDonald posting about the Neil Gaiman situation, which opened up a can of worms where the Whisper Network in comics, the leftists who protected him this entire time, have finally started mentioning it. I've got Ron Mars up on the screen. Ron Mars is a guy who never misses a crisis, and we'll get into what he said and, of course, what Heather Antos said about this, which is just, it makes my eyes roll in just a moment, as these people are so disingenuous. The comic industry is disgusting. Of course, they all swept for Neil Gaiman. They all covered for him. They all just were like quiet. And honestly, it's for one big reason, which I'll also get into. So smash that like and subscribe button. Let's talk about the comics here and talk about what's going on with the situation in just a moment. Please, guys, welcome to here. I am a comic creator who's banned and blacklisted from the industry, and I make my own comics. This is my 13th graphic novel, wildly successful. You guys should come in on this. This is the alternative to these people, and we are just absolutely crushing it, making great book after great book. I just heard back from my printer, and we've got a new system, which I think we're going to be printing on just the most high-quality paper for this book you can imagine. Get in on this now. Don't miss this. I've got exciting stuff coming through the pipeline, and it's just getting started. This is a Space Marine graphic novel called The Emerald Array, and it's about the Empire's elite going out there fighting against evil demonic monsters from outer space. It's classic storytelling, good stuff that you're absolutely going to love. I wrote this for you. Grab it today in the description below and support independent comics. Thank you so much. All right, so Ron Mars, like I said, was in this. There was a directive, from what I understand, that came from higher-ups at DC Comics that people were supposed to not talk about the Neil Gaiman situation when the Tortoise Media podcast dropped it last year, that there were a bunch of abuse victims from this guy. There's at least 9 who have come forward, and there's maybe 14, 15 out there, according to his ex-wife, Amanda Palmer. Absolutely crazy. Now, Neil Gaiman's a creep and a weirdo, and the stuff he did was disgusting. The details finally came out in New York Magazine, and they waited towards that in order to say anything. Comics Beat's Heidi McDonald was silent about it and was intentionally silent about it. Rich Johnston was also silent about it at Bleeding Cool. CBR was silent about it. They coordinated together not to say anything about this. I think Heidi McDonald even made a comment back in the day that, you know, she didn't want her deal being having any part of this or whatnot. Yeah, it's rules for thee, not for me. And they've covered other stuff like this before. They covered Warren Ellis, after all, when he was just DMing with some gross suicide girls and saying some nasty things to them. Far, far less than this kind of stuff. Warren Ellis wants his jobs back, people. Absolutely crazy. But they covered for Neil Gaiman because he's too big to fail. The Sandman reprints from DC Comics are some of their biggest sellers. And so, like I said, I had a source that told me there was a directive not to talk about this, to sweep for it in the industry. And a lot of people did. There was a lot of outcry on Blue Sky and things like that from fans, but none of these people said anything until it became posh to do so. The only point that it ever got reported on Comics Beat was finally when Neil Gaiman replied saying, "I deny any allegations," which is nonsense at this point. So you know exactly what they were doing. They're covering for him because he is too valuable to the comic book industry's back catalog sales, and that's all it's about. These people are just sick. None of them have any morals whatsoever. Now, Ron Mars is a serial cloud whore. He wrote for Silver Surfer. He wrote some of the Thanos stuff, the Infinity Gauntlets stuff back in the day that tied in there. Wrote a bunch of Marvel and DC stuff. Wrote for Witchblade for Image Comics. And he posts this type of stuff and political stuff. I don't even know if he really believes it because I met him in person and he's pretty chill in person, but online he really saber rattles on this stuff and goes against conservatives as hard as possible. He's posted about me a couple of times. Yet I've shared a drink with him. It's stupid. But the guy always goes out here and tries to clout chase off of this stuff. It's really, really funny. I think he just tries to look where the wind's going and maybe I can get a job out of this if people notice me. I really think that's kind of his motivation. He says, "I've never met Neil or never wanted to. The whole always dress in black vibe was pretentious and laughable to me." Well, that's true, and it always has been true, but why are you saying it now? Now that it's safe. Imagine if he said this 5 years ago, right? He'd get piled on, and that's why he didn't do it then. Early on in his career, I heard a story from another pro that put me off of Neil and his work. This is very interesting here right now. Now, Neil's work's disgusting, too. If you go into Sandman, there's stories in there that give you some clues as to the author here, especially when you talk about Calliope, the Muse. Get into that storyline. It's quite the rabbit hole. Now, he talks about this more. He says, when Sandman started to break, the pro told me, oh, that guy, you know who he is? He's the guy that at every party that's talking to you for now, but his eyes are scanning the room for someone more important to latch onto. Seemed like an indication of character or lack thereof. And that does actually exemplify Neil Gaiman's career. He does not, he's always been out there trying to just push himself as like this like sort of fame whore rock star. But Ron Mars, honestly, this is kind of doing the same, Ron. Like you said, like you would not have said this when Neil Gaiman's popular. You're only doing this now because it's in vogue to pile on at the moment. It's pretty funny. To clarify, since some people seem determined to extrapolate ridiculous conclusions, I didn't say I knew Neil was a bad person. I didn't say people who wear black are bad people. I related a story to another pro shared. I hope Neil's victims are able to find peace and healing. Oh, stunning and brave, Ron. Stunning and brave. But no, this is a good observation about Neil Gaiman. It's absolutely true with the way he's conducted himself throughout his entire career. Absolutely true on this stuff, too. So this is, not brave to say it now, dude. No one said it was brave. I shared that story before. Thanks. It is. This is exactly him going out there just because this is a hot topic that's going to get him some kudo points for going on Neil. Now, Heather Antos' take on this is more ridiculous, and we're going to get into this right here in regards to that article about that writer. You love how she does this kind of literally Voldemort. Yeah, she's scared to say his name, invoke his name, because she's still trying to like just play that clout game a little bit within the industry, right? That's what it's about right here. I love when they do this kind of thing. Folk, I know we want to discuss it with our peers, but it is harrowing. Before jumping into a conversation, check with others to see if they're in a place to participate. You don't know the triggers discussing it may bring up. Be better, be kind. So yeah, she's telling people basically to silence themselves on this even now. It's really ridiculous. Like she is talking down to her audience. She has to, I'm the moral person here who knows how to handle these kind of things. I'm going to look down upon you and wag my finger at you in this whole discussion. And this is exactly like the sort of structure that she's built for herself within the comic book industry this entire time. If you don't know who she is, she's the editor for IDW Publishing. She controls their licensed properties. She edits Star Trek, has done a total disaster there. And this is the type of like SJW moralizing that just like that Neil Gaiman used to do to people. This is the same kind of crap. And this is why it's such a ridiculous, funny thing that this is happening to Neil Gaiman, because he was like the poster child of this kind of moralizing, this kind of woke pushing of feminism and things like that. Be better, be kind. If you look at his response to the thing, he says very much these same buzzwords, uses the misinformation buzzword. It's exactly what you're going to see here in all this stuff. And of course, somebody's like, what the hell are you even talking about? And so somebody actually had to mention it because Heather couldn't actually say the name herself. So she could have culpable deniability if this does come back at some point. Now, not a ton of interaction on this because Blue Sky is a dead platform at this point. She'll get the likes, but that's about it. And this is where they're at these days. They're trying to chase clout off this situation. I've been reporting on it like since the beginning. And actually, I got threats for reporting on it early on, guys. This is where it was 6 months ago, is that the Neil Gaiman fans would just come at you and they'd say nasty things about you and attack you for reporting on it. And none of these people would stand up. Heather Antos didn't stand up. None of these people who are the feminist icons or the people who are the champions of the industry did anything. That's how you know all their moralizing with their woke stuff is complete nonsense. They'll cancel anybody at any time just for a little clout in this industry. They won't say anything when it benefits them, and then they'll just jump on a situation once it does. These people are all sick, and this mainstream industry needs to burn down because it's been protecting people like Neil Gaiman this entire time while just blacklisting normal good people. Very, very sad. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Grab my Emerald Array graphic novel, guys. This is it. This is the alternative you've been waiting for. Wonderful stuff right here. Don't miss it, guys. I promise a wonderful book that you're going to enjoy. It's done, and I can't wait to get this out to you. Back it. It's in the description below.